Sit in such a way that there's no struggle. And then be your own bell, so to speak. Imagine the gong going off and hearing it to its end. And as I said last week, let it beckon, let it bring forth your presence. The body is present and you can certainly feel it sitting, but the mind arrives typically much later. And again, bring yourself with that sound of the bell in your mind's eye. Let it bring you into a sense of timelessness. See if you can keep still by sending a message to your body and to your mind to relax. Thoughts will arise on their own. And ask yourself two questions. Is it necessary to hold on? Is it helpful? If not, let these thoughts flow on by. See if you can come into the now. Recognize what is. And become whole with a whole heart. Wholeheartedly be here now. Letting go of any fragmentation, knowing that you're sitting together in community. All of us together, choosing to be here with and for each other. And perhaps even noticing that quality of gratitude arising. It may not have been so if other circumstances were in your life. You may not be here. See if again that quality of gratitude comes up. And then if you like, if you have a personal vow, you can repeat that, or you can repeat the one that I've been doing for some time now. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. May I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. Don't be afraid to recognize how one could fall short of that vow. Simply recognize and begin again. Now, when you're ready, gently allow the eyes to open and stretch out your legs. So we're going to do a class today different from last week. So just to recap for those of you who haven't been here when we started the Body Wisdom classes on June 18th, we had about 4 classes. It was 4 classes, 2 weeks of leg stretch classes, which I did not record. And then we had 2 classes on basically thighs, quadriceps. And then I started this week, we're going to do feet and thighs, somewhat thighs again, quadriceps strength, and core and balance, and tie all of those elements together with balancing. So we're going to start by relaxing the abdomen before we work it, and we're going to do Supta Baddha Konasana flat, okay? So that means no trunk support, vertical or horizontal. That's it, Lubna. And then lie back and then have the arms out to the side. So Elaine, this is could be helpful to return if you feel obviously dizzy or nauseous at any point in time.
And then what I would do is just press the feet strongly into each other, widen the thighs away, and then bring your hands to the area right at the navel band, and just encourage that pacification of the abdominal area. You could go a little bit on the navel band, then slightly lower to pacify that area. Just ask it to relax. You know, having a lot to do, thinking about what you have to do, you know, can cause the abdomen to contract. So let's spend this bit of time just pacifying the abdomen. Spread the arms wide so that the arms are in line with the shoulders, the backs of the hands pressing firmly, head support, Carla, good. And we're just resting on our back in Supta Baddha Konasana, Gail. Yeah. So really this Supta Baddha Konasana more for the organic body. The other way of resting the abdomen is also placing the feet, and we've done this before, on a bolster as well, just to have you remember that one and be in the back of your mind at a future point in time. In a moment, you'll take the arms overhead, reaching through the fingertips to get the length of the side walls of the chest. Keep the throat relaxed, keep the eyes relaxed, and the trapezius moving to the waist. If it's difficult for you to keep the elbows straight, then perhaps a dowel or a broom or a mop. Charge through the fingers. Janet, you see if that's, okay. And then hold the wrists, forearm, elbows, or upper arm, depending on your mobility in the armpit and thoracic. That's good, Lubna. You actually don't have to cross in Baddha Hasta if you want. If you're working on keeping the arms straight, then by all means stay in Urdhva Hastasana. Now change the cross, but as you change the cross, go back to straight so that you don't lose the armpit length. So as you get the length in Urdhva Hastasana when the arms are overhead straight, and then if you're going to cross, but the key is to maintain the length. Keep pressing the feet, widening the thighs away. And again, enjoy the breath. Let the exhalation pacify the abdomen. And then we'll return to the first position, arms down by the side, and just rest. Yeah, you don't have, so the first one we had the hands in line with the shoulders. Now this could be a little bit closer to the hips, the hands slightly lower, maybe 6 inches from the shoulder. Just passive Supta Baddha Konasana. And if it was helpful for you to bring your hand to your abdomen, to quiet, to spread it, to relax the diaphragm, you can do that as well. So basically do what you need to do to relax your abdomen. Okay, now we did this a lot during, well, good 6 months ago, maybe even 9 months ago, and I call it quasi-Jethara Parvatasana. So just place your feet flat on the floor. Have them make sure that the feet are flat. So we did this quite a lot the first year when we started with Zoom. And then you're going to have the knees go to one side and then the other. So I hope you all remember quasi-Jethara. Okay, so now when you're ready, just slowly. The knees need not come to the floor, but if they do, see if, that's it, Carla. So as the knees, let's just say that's it, Carla. So everyone go to the right and see the effect on the left groin. If you're able to drop the knees to the floor, see what effect that has on that opposite groin. So go back and forth to the right, to the left groin, to the left for the right groin. Janet, have the feet apart because it'll help you out. It's a bunch of things. So you get that width across the sacrum. back and forth very slowly. I hope you remember, we did this a lot early on in COVID when people were sitting, spending a lot of time in their homes, and this was helpful. And it was with our several back lessons that we did as well. Okay. So just to again plant the seed, you have this in your toolbox. Make sure the feet are hip width apart. Really is helpful. And the feet are hip width apart to get that sacrum to spread. Okay, now just take Dvipada, knees into chest. Dvi is 2, Pada is feet or leg, and do flex the feet so you're opening, we'll call it hardening through the heel to open up that heel hinge. And begin to take the thighs closer and closer to the chest. You have to deflate the abdomen in order to do that. Deflate the abdomen, take an inhalation, and against that resistance of that exhalation and deflation of the abdomen, draw the knees in a little closer. Also a good one for the back, sacrum can be supported. Okay, all right, now when you're ready, take a bolster, a block, and a blanket. So we're going to do a series for the feet. Gail, you don't have the sneaker on, right? Okay, so you'll let me know if you need to come on, just mute yourself. So this is what we're going to do. I'll make this perhaps easier for you. So if you know that your heels don't come to the floor in Malasana, I'm setting up a blanket in that manner, okay? And then I think just as a change of pace, I'll show you in profile because it works better. You won't need a belt. So you're going to sit in Virasana first. So Virasana, you all know, and I hope you know, that Virasana is hero's pose, and you're sitting between your heels. And just for a change, I'm putting a bolster here. And then I'm taking the crown of the head to the floor. If this bothers you, Elaine, then, you know, for obviously if one was nauseous, this might bother them or even dizzy. And I'm aiming to get my buttock bones to hit the bolster at a faster rate than my outer thighs, okay? So we'll be sitting in Virasana, supported by a bolster today, just because it's a nice organic support, and I'm on the tops of the feet with my feet open and my hands on the roots of the thighs. So this is Virasana. You can say to yourself, Virasana, hero's pose. Okay, you can show me in profile or full forward. Okay. Now, I did mention Malasana in terms of the blanket. If you're the kind of person who needs a chair in front of you to reach out to in Malasana, you could have additionally gotten that. All right, we'll see when we get there. Okay, now just take a time and open the soles of the feet. So the interesting thing is if you haven't done Virasana in some time, you might need more height, in which case you could put a blanket underneath you. Keep your chest upright, not leaning forward, and certainly good winning, not leaning back. All right, just rest there. And now we'll do the Parvatasana, which basically means Virasana legs and arms in Urdhva Baddha-Gulyasana. So interlace your hands on the crown of the head. And now press the feet, shins, outer shins. Be one with your baby toe and outer shin. The inner heels want to collide into the midline. So bring the weight to the baby toe side. And now reach up through your palms. That's it. Don't let the arms come forward. Now, Lana, see if you can bring the top of your sternum forward, but your arms back. Almost everyone needs to do that, especially if you're in profile. Lana, Lubna, same thing. See if you can bring the top of the sternum, chest forward, arms back. Janet, that's really good. Arms back, chest forward. Okay, now let me just see Urdhva Hastasana, just don't change yet. Just go back to Urdhva Hastasana or see Lana if that makes a difference. Yeah, Lubna, same thing. So generally speaking, it's easier in Urdhva Hastasana for the chest to come forward and the arms to come back. Now go back to the change of cross, go back to the crown of the head and go straight up, straight up. It's not easy to do Urdhva Baddha-Gulyasana. Urdhva Hastasana is easier.
Carla, just make sure the thighs don't spread too much and the abdomen's drawing back. If you need to belt the legs, then always do. Well done. Okay, now take the arms down. All right, now we're going to sit in Vajrasana. So this Vajrasana, not hero's pose, you're bringing the big toes together and the inner ankles together. Now, the inner ankles will want to separate from each other. See if you can, keep them together by doing what you need to, pressing the inner ankles together. One could even put a belt and then go back on your heels. So you're sitting on your heels and have a brick on the high side ready to go. So you're sitting in Vajrasana. So feet are together. Gail, if any of these bother you, you'll let me know. Feet are together. See how as soon as you sit back, the inner ankles move away from each other. So there's Virasana, Vajrasana. All stretch the top of the foot, right? The ankle. Now, find out in sitting in this pose, is the whole top of your foot pressing into the earth? How about the top of the ankle? If it's not, which I don't see anyone, then you would insert the blanket. All right, now coming out of Vajrasana, watch. I'm taking the block on the high side. I'm tucking my toes underneath, which I will admit it's easier in a sneaker to do this than bare feet. So if this is painful to anyone, Gail, I don't know if you have your sneaker, we'll say if this is okay and we can talk about it on the other side. Put the block on the high side and make your chest upright. Hands on the roots of the thighs. That's good. Toes are under. That's it, Illumina. You can take your hands, I like to do that, and spread the baby toe and hook your thumbs in your inner ankles and move the inner ankles away from each other. Inner ankles away from each other. So you're sitting on the brick on the high side between your inner heels, but the toes are tucked under versus on the tops of the feet. Okay, now watch quickly. I'm going to extricate the block from the high side. I'm going to bring my fingers to the floor and I'm staying basically in the toe squash position and aiming to get my thighs parallel. I'm also aiming to get my feet perpendicular. That's it, Janet. So thighs parallel, feet perpendicular. Do you see how the heels want to stay back? See if you can get your heels perpendicular. That's it, Luna. So see if you can get the heels want to move back toward that wall. You can use blocks. That will help. Winnie, take the chest back a little bit. So move the blocks closer to your buttocks, my friend. Yeah, because if the blocks are too far forward, the chest will want to lean forward. That's it. So now you're in Sankatasana. Now watch. You're going to, again, keeping the hands on the floor, extend back from the arch to the heel. Some of you can reach for a chair and bring the heels down. If the heels don't come down, look, I have the little blanket there and I wedge it in. But what I would say is let your heels come down on their own versus shoving in the blanket from the get-go. Honestly, okay, take the height. Yeah, take not too much height, not too little, not too much. Yeah, that's good. Okay, Carla, that's good to reach out to the banister. If you're struggling to be upright in this manner, then a chair could be good. Andrea, see if you can get the chest a little more perpendicular to the floor versus here, upright. It's very similar to Utkatasana, except for the thigh position, right? The thighs are much lower. Okay, now stretch out your legs. All right, so I'm going to teach this. We'll see how we do with this on screen, and actually it works well with a sneaker. So there's an exercise for the feet. It's called feet inversion and eversion, and we're going to do eversion. So I want to show from a frontal view, and I might take off the sneaker. So right now I'm sitting in Dandasana, okay? And I'm going to turn my left ankle, you can start with the right or the left, so that the sole of the foot is facing, this is the midline. This is my perineum, this is the midline. Okay, that's eversion, the foot is turning in. Do you see that?
My left foot is perpendicular, now it's turning in. That's eversion, which we'll do today, maybe Friday we'll do inversion. Inversion's the opposite. It's turning the foot away from the median line. So eversion turning toward the median line, inversion away. All right, so I think we'll do 10 on the right and on the left and see how we do. And then if you want to come on, because we've never done, Gail, I'd be very curious how this is for you, okay? It's one of the many exercises one gets to strengthen the ankle, metatarsal as well. Okay, so first starting Dandasana. Okay, we'll take the right leg. You can do the right leg first. And now turn the right ankle so the sole of the right foot is facing into the midline. Okay, now go back, but slowly back to perpendicular. Pretty easy exercise. All right, the 2 feet will be different. Okay, and then repeat. Second one, so do it very slowly, turn in, and then actually at a slightly slower rate, come back. And then third one, turn in and go back to perpendicular slowly and turn in. And then we'll continue on for 10 on the right. That's it, Janet. Turn in, that's it. And notice how much turning is on the right, because in a moment we'll do the left and you can compare. Usually one foot is quite different than the other. Okay, continue on. Slow, this is eversion into the midline and out. And then into the midline and out. And if you've done your 10 on the right, then of course begin the left, or if you started the left, begin the right. Okay. Now, the one thing I will say, when you're doing these at home, there's a possibility of adding a resistance band to the ball of the foot and then hooking it up to, you know, the bottom of a leg of a chair or the base of a bed, and you're working with resistance. So one of those resistance bands can really help. So now everybody, at least probably on the other side, turn into the midline and out. Turn in to the midline and out. And in and out. As you turn in, keep spreading the ball of the foot and keep spreading the toes, which is challenging to do without hardening them. But just do the best you can. So usually what's given for this particular exercise is 3 sets of 15. 3 sets of 15. And it's generally coupled with the opposite one, inversion. And then of course one adds the resistance band. Okay, so we'll finish up on this left side and we can talk about, as I said, on the other side. All right, now from here, let's do Supta Pada Uttanasana cycle slightly different than we typically do it. But if you have a wall, that would be great, and have a belt. We're going to do 1, 2, 4, and 2 all on the right, and then 1, 2, 4, and 2 all on the left. And I think by now you know what that means. Okay. So if you don't have a wall, don't worry about it. Start with the legs bent, slightly near a wall. This is good for the low back. Gail, you can, and Lana, you can let me know how that was on your ankle. For anyone who is working on their feet. Extend one leg, then the other. Andrea as well. All right, have the belt rigged up. Many of you like the loop format. Get the good, Jen, get the traction in the low back as you extend one leg and then the other. All right, now take Ekapada, right knee in, weight there. And again, incorporate what I asked you to do when we did Dvipada. When you take the leg in, okay, see if you can deflate the abdomen in such a way that the thigh comes closer and closer to the chest. So you can take an inhalation against the resistance of the abdomen moving back. And then change sides, left knee in. And then right leg in. Going just back and forth. And Janet, just as an aside, this is a way of, when you think about leg lifts and you want to make it slightly easier, more palatable, then of course one could make it do even this, because this is basically a Kunchanasana. Okay, you don't always have to straighten the legs. So just think, so if when we get to that part, leg lifts, and that's challenging, you can go to this. All right, do a few more like this. Wonderful to do. Ekapada with movement. Each time, see if you can bring the thigh a little bit in closer. Do flex the foot. Do trace a line of the skin from the knee to the hip so you feel the skin and the femur head drawing back. It's interesting, as you do yoga more and more for your whole life, you really get to see that it's not so much what you do, how much you do, it's the awareness to what you bring to it. So a seemingly easy pose like this can be quite nuanced, right, over time as you get more seasoned, and then your mind can take in, the finer points of the pose. Okay, now when you're ready, strap is available to you. Take the leg to 90 degrees. So we're not going to stay too long in it. We're going to go 1, 2, 4. Now, when I say 4, I want you to pick, and this will allow me to see if you guys know what 4 is. 4 has a lot of options. It can be the figure 4. It can be the scooping under collar that we often do, or the hand behind the head, which is the final pose, holding the big toe. Okay, so this is 1, leg is straight. Just move the leg, move the leg, move the leg. That's it. Lana, does it help for you to do it in that manner, that kind of going back and forth, or versus just gliding it? Interesting. Yeah, so that's more of a little bit of the pumping action. All right, now go to 2, meaning you're going to hold the strap with the right hand, extend the left arm out, turn the abdomen right to left, and go. We've spent a lot of time. Everyone look at the foot to make sure the foot is parallel so you're opening the groin. That's it, Gail. If you have support, Gail, I don't know if you're that close to the sofa there, but the foot can be also on a wall, Elaine, if you're in the corner, that's always helpful. Okay, now pick your iteration of 4. Go to 4. I hope all of you know 4. Figure 4, or hooking underneath, or taking the right arm behind the back of the head, raising the head, whatever you prefer. That's good, Lana. Lugna, that's good. Hook under, hook under. Figure 4, many of you are doing good. All right, now from 4, we'll stay here a little bit longer. The reason being, oftentimes when one does, I want to give you the reason why I'm doing it this way. 4 improves 2. So stay a smidge longer in 4. If you need to go hook under or take another method, I'm fine with that. Okay, now go back out to 2. You probably didn't stay long enough, but we'll do it again. Go back out to 2 and see how 4 informs 2. See how 4 informs 2. I'm glad that everyone knew what 4 was. Excellent. Now take the leg up. All right, take both knees into the chest, Dvipada. Get the hip, feel, you know what, do this. When you're in Dvipada, take your index finger to the top of the knee, at the outer knee, and trace a line back to the hip socket. So you can see doing Dvipada and Ekapada help the Supta cycle because they get the clarity at the buttock, the pelvis thigh juncture. Get that clarity. Spread the toes. Good. All right, now left knee stays in, right leg extends out. Okay, and then go to 1. Again, 1, 1. And now just have the quality of movement now. All right, 1, move the leg toward you, keeping the pelvis balanced, side ribs even, Steven. Good, Carla. Yeah, and I'm glad, Carla, I know you have the head support, but that speaks to, if anyone needs head support, please take it. Same. All right, now go to 2. Make it lyrical. Hold the belt with the left hand. Take the right arm out. Now, before you take the left leg out, turn the abdomen left to right. Just the foot once it's out, can be a wall or sofa. That's it, Winnie. Extend. Reach from the corner. Okay. If you're finding it difficult to balance, if your weight, Janet, is going all the way to the left leg, remember what I said? Decentralize your right leg. it will be much easier to descend. So yeah, I don't want you to wait for me to say it. I mean, we're doing it with movement. I didn't ask you to decentralize the right leg, but if your pelvis is top, if the left side of your body feels really heavy and the right is high up, then decentralize your right leg. Okay, now take the leg up, go to 4 in any manner, be it figure 4, hooking under, holding the left big toe with your left hand. Stay for a smidge. Those of you who've lifted your head and chest, make sure you're relaxing your neck. Because it's hard to hold when the chest lumina is lifted. Relax your neck. Yeah. Relax the neck, relax the throat, or support, yeah, or go back, lumina, or even support the head. I don't know if you have the props there. Okay, now go to 2. Now I would just say for time, so do like what I would do is with this sequence is when you're on your own, you just decide, oh, I'll do the Supta cycle in the way that I taught today. Spend a minute in 4 and touch 30 seconds, 15 seconds in 2. All right, now we're doing the whole thing again. All right, so in place of doing it, when we usually stay 2 minutes in 1, 2, 4, and 3, which we will do, it's movement. So I want to so we're going to go 1, 2, 4 in some manner, and then back to 2. 1, 2, 4, 2, right side, 1, 2, 4, 2, left side. Okay, let's do it. Again on the right. So with movement can help both legs and hips, particularly hips. That's it, Lana. 1, 2, 4. You might choose another iteration of 4. That's good, Lumina. So you changed your iteration, then to 2. Good. Yeah, and then again. 1, 2. You're on the other side, that's fine. 1, 2 is out to the side, turning the abdomen, left to right. Now 4. Those of you who want to take the plunge into the final pose, do so. Some of you are already doing it. And then back out to 2. Good. Feel them, like if we were to stand up in a second, you would feel that the hips have been lubricated. All right, now try this. Some of you weren't here for this the other day, Friday. So you're going to do 1, go back to the right. So this is what we're going to do. 1, 2, 4, 2, and then come into Anantasana. Do you remember Anantasana? You're on your side. I can demonstrate it if you'd like. Okay? All right, let's try it right side. So back to 1. And then out to the side 2. Yes. And now 4, any iteration. Good, that's it. And then 2. Back to 2. Now, focus on your abdomen. That Akunchanasana action. Abdomen draws back as you go onto your side for Anantasana, where we worked on last Friday. Good, Carla. And remember the mantra. You have to, in order to get up, you recruit your abdominal muscles. Okay, and now roll back to 2. Good, Carla. All right, and repeat. So when you're on your, when you're supine in 2, in order to get onto, it'll be your right side as we do the left leg, you have to draw the abdomen back toward the front of the spine to climb back to that sideline position. And you can feel, like you can see, there's almost a hesitation to go back to the floor. So you have to recruit your abdominal muscles to do it. All right, let's do left side. So again, 1, 2, 4, 2. And now recruit your abdominals, gather all your attention around your abdomen, and now go on to your good ladder. Go up, reach up through the lip of your heel. That's it. And then remember the mantra of buttock forward, leg back. Good, Carla. If you needed that blanket, Carl, you could have just switched it for your ear. Okay, and now go back to 2, roll back. Rolling back is easy, rolling up is hard, right? So that's the principle of going against gravity and with gravity. Now, what you could do is have fun tomorrow when we're not in class together and go back and forth. So you're on 2 Anantasana, 2 Anantasana, 2 Anantasana. And now we're going to do 3 in this way. So Lubna, if you need the belt for your inner thighs, especially on your left side, okay. Or someone could, so 3 is one that we don't do as much as 1, 2, 4. So this is where, you know, the right leg is up, and then I'm gonna cross the right over to the left. So I'm holding the belt with the left arm. And the key thing is to resist your inner thighs, these guys, away. Now I wanna say that because you may not realize in Garudasana, which we're going to do, we do the same thing. So note to self, down the road in Garudasana, you will need the inner thighs resisting away from each other, okay? So again, it just speaks to nuance. All right, take the right leg up, hold it with the left hand, take the right arm out to the side. Now, keeping the right side of the waist moving toward the floor, the abdomen turning left to right, take the right leg over, but don't lose contact. Your trunk should remain parallel to the ceiling, i.e. don't go, that's really good, Andrea. Don't go with the right leg. You're not going with motion here. Good, Carla. All right, now in the airspace, look at your right leg in the airspace. Now simply bend it. We worked on this last week. Bend it. That's it. Notice, Carla, in bending it, how the knee came closer to the chest and then slowly straighten it through the core of the heel. This is really good for your outer hips. Gail, outer hips. Janet, outer hips. Bend and straighten. That's it. Bend and straighten. Yes, Andrew, you can put your thumb and index finger in that right hip crease to get the clarity at that hip side juncture, which we're spending a lot of time talking about the past 6 months. These look really good. Do at least 6 times to get the lubrication in the external lateral rotators. These look good. All right, and now take the leg back to 1, put the foot on the floor, extend it, and change sides. So if anyone has a groin issue, then I would either not do this pose, just say the left groin bothers you, or put a belt at your inner left thigh, or even your arm at your inner left thigh. Okay, now hold the belt with the right hand, stretch out the left arm, turn abdomen right to left, keeping the chest centered line. Okay, now go. One side will be different than the other. That's it, Gail. Arm is straight. Leg is straight at first. Yeah, Lubna, that's good. Just pull it straight. Yeah, not even so much down to the wall, but out, like out toward me, straight out. Yeah, straight out. Straight out. Like I'm there by your thigh and I'm pulling. That's much better. Yeah, straight out. All right, now bend it and extend. This is getting into the hips. So you can see this cycle is really formed from the hips. It's not just the legs, but it's also abdominal. Bend it. So keep it in the airspace. Keep it in the airspace. Keep it in the airspace. Notice how the left knee is closer to the chest when you bend the left leg. Okay. I'm glad to see many of you are putting your left hand in your hip crease. Okay, and then release. All right, now just take Dvipada again. Keep deflating the abdomen to bring the thighs closer and closer to the chest. All right, so we're going to do supine Garudasana. So let me show you from a frontal view. We've done this before, so you're in Dvipada, and then you're going to simply cross the legs. So my thigh is over my other thigh, and my knees are kind of stacked. And then with movement, going in, and then at some point with the movement, I might decide to hook my foot around the ankle. If you can't do that, please, please don't worry about it. Okay, then what we're going to do is with hook or not hook, like Dvipada, you're going to bring the knees closer and closer toward the chest so that they're merged onto the chest. And then you're going to sit up, sit up, sit up. Okay? All right. So Garudasana with movement. A bunch of times. Don't worry about crossing the ankle yet. Some people can't cross the ankle because maybe the calves are very bulky. See if you can keep the shins parallel to the ceiling. So you're crossing the thighs and you can go counterclockwise, clockwise, alternating right and left. Good, Luna. Alternating. All right. Now, if you're a kind of person who has small gastrocs, gastrocnemius, you'll be able to hook. All right. Now, from here, hold the shins and draw the legs closer and closer to your chest, merging the thighs with the chest. Merge the thighs with the chest. Deflate the abdomen. Inhale, and against the resistance of the abdomen moving back, take another breath. Now interlace the hands at the back of the head like Ardha Navasana. And now do 10 sit-ups. See if you can get the shoulder blades though off the floor. Good, Carla. Shoulder blades are off the floor. If you have nausea, then just stay flat. Take the elbows toward the midline, but not so close to your face like this. So keep the arms in a kind of gentle U. The elbows need not touch. It actually aggravates the neck. So have the elbows shoulder width apart. Okay, rest there. Okay, those who are able, do another 10. Those who aren't, just stay in supine Garudasana. When you take the elbows a little closer together, so they're not out to the sides like this, nor touching, kind of midway, at middle half. That's it, Gail. As you lift the chest, lift the head, abdomen draws back. Abdomen draws back. Okay, and then just rest and untwine the legs. All right, now from here, we're going to do seated Garudasana. So let me just show from an all-four position. All right, so I'm going to come to a kneeling position. Put your hands on the floor. And then
Hey, Ronnie?
Yeah.
Were we supposed to switch legs and do the other side? Because I
Yes,
didn't do that. Sorry. When you said do 10 more. So I'm going to just jump and do that quick.
Or yeah, but know that, in many ways, that whole thing is kind of a misnomer because it's not going to hurt the body. But if you want to do the other side, fine. All right, so I'm going to, just to show this, Carla, when you're ready, I'll have the knee over the knee. The thighs are crossed, just like you did supine. And then I'll show from behind. So I'm taking the right leg over, and then I call this my windshield wiper my legs, because I have to create space for my buttocks to go onto the floor. Some of you might need a blanket, in which case you can get it. And then you slowly, and this is what I want to show in profile, once the legs have separated, the lower legs have separated from each other, use your abdominal muscles, draw them back to the front of the spine and sit down either with blanket or without. And then from the front, you can see that same position. Eyes across, knee over knee. And then we'll do Garudasana arms. All right, let's try that. So you're kneeling. You can take the right leg over the left leg. There's different ways to come into it, but let's do this one first. And then separate the lower legs. What I like to do is put the hand on the abdomen, draw the abdomen back, and bring your buttocks to the floor. So you're sitting in Garudasana. If it bothers anyone's knees, typically if you see what I'm doing, watch. So my legs were just here a moment ago, right? The heels are close into the buttocks. If it bothers, if it's too much flexion for one's knees, look, I'm wriggling out my feet so that my right lower leg and left lower leg are actually on one plane. The interesting thing about this is that we might as well all do that, because not only does it create less flexion in the knee, but actually when you take your lower legs forward, it creates more stretch in the outer hip that you felt in Supta Pada Uttanasana 3. Does anyone feel the difference between the legs are in, Andrea, when the legs are in one linear plane versus heels close into buttocks? They're different positions. It's more like log pose, this pose, where you feel it in the stretch of the outer hip more. All right, so we're back to seated Garudasana in 2 configurations. Hopefully, Carl, I'll remember to change the cross on this one. Okay, now outstretch your arms, cross your elbows, and now bring the palms toward the midline. Now raise the back of the arm muscle, that's good, Lana, away from the floor. Lift up. Lift your triceps away from the floor. Yeah, that's good. Use the blanket. Yes. So the blanket, you're sitting between your heels. Raise the triceps away from the floor and feel the spreading at the back of the neck and the head. Lana, that's a beautiful pose. Lubna, that's really good. I wish I had a screenshot of that. Your hands and your arms. Okay, now release and change sides, not the legs, just change the arms. There's no reason not to change the arms on the same side. It's crazy. Raise the triceps away from the floor. Palms touching if you can. Beautiful. So some of you are able to get the palms together, which is not so easy. All right, now untwine the arms, untwine the legs. Same thing, other side. Garudasana. So we're taking the left leg over the right, separate your lower legs in this manner, and then put your hand at your lower spine, which we did, lower abdomen, which we did when we sat, and draw back. So you feel there's an abdominal action in Garudasana, because you'll need that when we come to stand. Okay, so the first position is heels in close to the buttocks. Observe sensation in your outer hips. Again, if the knees are problematic in any way, then do indeed crawl out, as I'm crawling out, you see, with my heels, which is actually a good functional movement. And then when you're in that linear plane of the lower legs, observe the different sensation in the outer hips. And then you can just lightly place the hands on the knees to start with. So no one's knees should be bothering them, then sit in this manner. All right. Now, Garudasana arms in both configurations. One can also do Gomukhasana arms in Garudasana legs. And then change. Okay, now release the arms, release the legs to Dandasana. So I'm reading a few books on aging, and I didn't bring it down. I think it's in Frank Lipman's, he's a doctor in New York, South African doctor. He had a chapter in the back talking about this exercise. Okay, so stretch out your legs, open the backs of the knees. Okay, now cross your legs, and see if you can stand up without using your hands on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
You're standing up using your feet and your core muscles. Yes, no hands. All right, now sit down without using your hands. Go back to that same position. And now stand up again. Come on, Lubna. Use your feet and use your abdomen and come. It's not so easy. Gail, I got this from Frank Lipman's book, who has a wellness center. And it's not for you for the ankles. He has a practice in New York in Soho called 1111. He has several books out. There's a wonderful blog as well. All right, let's do this. Try this. Take a chair. And you're going to sit in the middle of the chair. It need not be a yoga chair. This will be much easier, I promise. Just sit in the yoga chair. Have the feet apart. And get up. And sit down. And get up. And sit down. 15 in that manner. That's it. Okay, so this seems pretty. Andrea, be careful with that sliding chair. I would not want you to slide out from underneath you. Yeah, otherwise you can hold the sides of the chair. I want to keep everyone safe. So this looks easy. Right, Lana? Yeah. Okay. This looks easy. Everybody agree? Thumbs up. Okay, much easier than coming up from the floor, right? Okay, now go back, stand up, take the chair away, sit down. And now get up. Don't use your hands to get up, use your feet and your abdomen. Okay, so this, we're gonna work on it. Come on, Lubna. Lubna, use your feet, not just the toes, Lubna, the whole foot. All right, the whole foot. All right, now let's go to the wall and do the chair squat. If you can show me in profile, because then I can see.
Ronnie, can I ask you a question? When you're doing that, can you tell me where your weight is as you're trying to get up?
My weight is more toward the ball of the foot.
Oh, but I'm not, I'm on the side of my feet, so I can't be on the ball of my foot.
So, right.
Can you just do it again? I want to just see how you do it.
Okay, so I'm here and I'm really pressing. I'm aiming, you will feel the outer edge of the feet, but I'm
You're
really.
going forward.
Yes, so you see, I'm using this part of my foot. I'm aiming to get the weight onto.
Okay.
So here's the principle. If you only use the outer edges of the feet, inner or outer edges, you're not going to be able to get up. So if you feel your outer edges down, you have to roll the weight to the midline and aim to get the soles of the feet down and then go up.
There's the problem.
It's not easy and it will take practice. Okay, so that's why we're doing it. I hope you liked it. Chair squat at the wall when you're ready. So against the wall, you're doing a chair squat, meaning that the thighs are parallel to the floor. Make sure everyone, the feet. So stand in front of the wall about 14 inches, perhaps 12 to 14. That's it, and that's it. Now see if you can hold this, so we're timing. Don't let the thighs splay out. Trace the line of the skin from the knee to the hip. Put your hands on the roots of the thighs. Taking the arms overhead. I think Janet, come a little bit forward. Winnie, come a little bit forward. You don't have to take the arms overhead. This is really to work on thigh strength. Probably good. I don't want the buttock bones to be lower than the knees, right? So the thighs are parallel, which they weren't in Malasana. They're all different positions of the thighs. You can stay a minute, you're staying a minute, otherwise come up and then find to go back down. Okay, good. So almost everyone can get their thighs parallel to the ceiling. And now come up. All right, now just try this. Janet, if you're not doing dog pose, then do another one of those chair squats. Otherwise, just watch this. I want you to feel your thighs. So this comes from Mr. Shafroni's work, and putting 2 blocks at the wall. Let me just show. 2 blocks at the wall in this manner, accommodate the length of the foot. Now watch, and of course, this is always easier if your feet are kind of tender, then wearing a sneaker will always help. So I'm going to come into dog pose from an all-4 position, and again, I want you to focus on your thighs. And I'm going to take the edge of the heel right onto the brick, the edge of the heel. So my heels are on the brick and the toes are on the floor. And you'll see that when the heels are up, it does 2 things. It does 2 things. It activates the thighs and it draws your attention to the abdomen moving back. Then at some point, we'll walk the heels down to be on the floor in front of the bricks and then raise the toes up. Because I want you to feel dog pose. You're not spending a lot of time in dog pose. I want you to feel your thighs activated because the kneecaps have to lift. Okay, so blocks longitudinally at the wall, hip width apart, and aim, you get your heels onto that anterior of the brick. Andrea, be careful with the eggs because they might flip over. So the heel, that's it, Carla. Heels on, not the whole foot, although we do it with the whole foot. Heels are right at the frontal edge of the brick. Now, focus on the tops of the thighs. The kneecaps have lifted. The tops of the thighs should feel active. That's what we want. We want strong legs for balancing poses. Move the tops of the thighs back. Notice how the abdomen is engaged. Now walk your feet down to the floor so that the outer circumference of the heel touches the brick. Now raise the toes up. So that's good. Raise the toes up to open the backs of the knees and again to activate the quads. So it's really important that we have some thigh strength. Okay, now walk your feet toward your hands. All right, now we're going to do Utkatasana. Feet can be apart or together. I prefer apart, but it's up to you. So we're going to take, again, with movement, see if you can go down 3 or 6 times, aiming to get your thighs parallel. So Utkatasana, which is different than chair squat at wall, right? So feet are spreading. Yes, you can lift the toes up, which is intuitive to do. All right, now go down, shins back, shins back. Good, Andrew. Make your chest more upright. See if you can aim on, you don't have to stay long on this first one. With each consecutive time, go down more. Sit down, go down more. Work on getting strong in your thighs. That's what this lesson is about. Strong in your thighs. Sit down. Appreciate the geometry of this pose. Lana, imagine I'm just standing behind you with a blanket at the sides of your navel and drawing it slightly back, but lift up. Go down with the buttocks, Lana, up with the trunk. Abdomen back, abdomen back. Carla, see if you can get good length. See if you can get the chest more upright. Your arms need not be overhead. Most people find it easier, but for some of you can bring your hands onto your hips. Carla, see if you can get the chest even more upright, if you can. I know it's hard. It is very hard. Okay, and now come up. All right, now face me. If your balance is off in any way, look, you can always do it. There's balance sometimes is affected by a multitude of things. Then you can be near a wall. So in Utkatasana, which you just did, the frontal hip bones, a very symmetrical pose. The frontal hip bones are even with each other. So that's pretty obvious. Now, when you do Garudasana, we'll stand on the right leg. And just like we did supine, entwine the left. The tendency is, especially when you hook, is to let the left hip frontal hip bone go with the right. So remember that instruction I gave you, move the inner thighs away from each other in that Supta Pada Visthasana 3. That's what you need to do. All right, so I want the front. So here's the point. Can you find Utkatasana in Garudasana? So frontal hip bones are even, Stephen. Take one Utkatasana for me now. Utkatasana. Utkatasana. With your hands, try it with your hands on your hips. For some people, this is harder than arms overhead. All right, now you have the evenness in the hips. Standing on your right leg, entwine the left around the right. You need not hook, because if you want to hook, then fine, be my guest, good Lubna, but move the inner thighs. So find out in hooking your left leg around your right, did you take the left frontal hip bone with you? Resist, you have to put your hands there and resist the inner thighs. A seemingly easy pose, it looks easy, but it's not. Hands on hips is fine, or out to the sideline, that's fine. Those of you who can hook, Carla, then hook. But know that in hooking, the tendency to cross over is even more. Lubna, you have it. Okay, go back to Utkatasana. So Utkatasana is the, we'll call it the gold standard, if you will, or the set point for Garudasana. All right, now come back up, standing on the left leg. See if you can entwine the right. One side will be much more challenging. Resist the inner thighs. If you're hooking the left over the right, put your hand on your inner left thigh and just move it slightly out. Elaine, same thing on the left side. If you tend to cross over, then don't hook. Don't hook. If you wanted to hook, then it's easier with the hands at the wall. Okay, these look good. Resist the inner thighs away from each other, especially for you, Lubna, with the left leg crossed over on the left side. Now come back to center. Take 2 blocks on the high side. I'll scale. Have the blocks directly in front of the feet, in line with the shoulders. And then you're going to lift your left leg up. Since you're lifting it from the abdomen, so don't let the abdomen fall forward to the floor. Don't let it sink down. If you need to, put your hand, as we've done before for proprioception, on your navel band and ascend the abdomen away from the floor. So don't let the contents of the abdomen spill out. Now, as you lift the left leg up, draw up everyone, put all the pieces together, draw up from that outer right knee to the hip. See if you can get everyone, the left leg parallel to the floor. Parallel, a little bit higher, Janet, really a little bit higher. Extend from the inner knee to the inner heel. Abdomen is ascending. Carl, I think you can take the hands a little further back toward the foot. I think because otherwise it's shifting the weight too far forward. Yes, and now descend the right leg, left leg, good. All right, stretch up through the arms, reach up. Exhale, bend forward. See that your blocks are in line with the shoulders. All right, now from here, standing on the left foot, draw up from the left knee to the hip, and now lift strongly. Lift the root of the right thigh, higher, higher. Get it at least parallel. Flex the foot. Good, Carl. Okay, these look good. All right, and then take it down. Let's go back standing on the right leg again. You can take the arms up if you prefer. All right, now standing on the right leg, bend forward and lift the root of the left thigh. Lift from your abdomen. Since you're lifting more from your core and less from that left leg. And descend it. All right, standing on the left leg. Draw up knee to hip and lift. Lift from the abdomen. Yes, the root of the right thigh has to lift, it's true. But since your abdomen is ascending in the direction of the ceiling. Okay, and now come back. Now let's put these two pieces together. We're doing Garudasana, standing on the right leg, to Virabhadrasana 3, hands on hips. So what you're going to do is do just this quickly. You'll do Utkatasana, Garudasana on your right leg, and then keeping the hands on the hips, Warrior 3. All right? Don't extend the arms forward. It's too challenging. I mean, that's down. You can plant seeds for the future. Garudasana on the right leg. First take Utkatasana. Sorry, Utkatasana. Lubna abdomen back in Utkatasana. Put your hand on the navel band. Better? Yeah. Okay, now keep your hand there on the abdomen. Keep the right leg slightly bent and twine the left around the right, Garudasana. Keep the hand on the abdomen, yes, or on the hip. And now extend your left leg back to Virabhadrasana 3 as you reach the trunk forward. Andrea, take the chest a little bit lower. The arms can reach backward or they can be out to the sideline or hands on hips. That will help with balance. Okay, now start again. Utkatasana, symmetry. Garudasana. Garudasana. You're now on your left leg. Okay, now Virabhadrasana 3. Virabhadrasana 3. Now the left leg is straight. It's slightly bent in Garudasana. Is it better? Get the chest parallel. Good. And now come out. Okay, one more time, finishing it up. So we'll stay on the right side. We'll do Utkatasana symmetrical. Garudasana on the right, Warrior 3. Now, for those of you who want to make it harder, if your hands were on the hips, you can take them out to the side. Lana, those of you out to the side, take them forward. That's good. And then move, Lana, the pelvis slightly forward. Okay, going on your right leg. Now, Lubna, for you, the chest got a smidge too low. Yes, there you go. Okay, let me see. So see what happens, and this happens inevitably. In Warrior 3, especially if your arms are forward and the lever is quite long, notice how the pelvis stays back. So use your arms to move the pelvis forward. That's just that's a very, very challenging thing to do. Okay, final time, final side. Stay with it. If you want to challenge yourself to take the arms forward, that's fine. So it's Utkatasana to Garudasana to Virabhadrasana 3, either hands on hips, arms reaching backward. We're gonna raise the chest a smidge, or arms in front of you. Carla, that's good. Okay, that's plenty. Now we're going to rest. That's good, Lana, that's really good. The chest was parallel to the floor. So Janet, just as a quick aside, I just wanted to, actually, while I'm talking to Janet, just do Tita Bekasa now. Everyone, if you need a wall, you can face the wall. If anyone needs to rest and do forward bends, that's fine. If you're tired, you had enough, you can do some seated forward bends. Use a chair for your forehead. So Tita Bekasa, good, Carla. Hold the foot with both hands. Many of you can do that. Okay, these look good. So we're stretching the hip flexors before the leg lifts. So Janet, what I was gonna say while we do this is don't always think, and I think this is what people in sometimes Iyengar yoga associate, like all the leg lifts and Ardha Navasana with abdominal work. It need not be that. You can see how we took a very fresh and creative approach to abdominal work by doing standing poses and seated poses. Okay, change sides when you go. Don't let the chest come forward in Tita Bekasa. That's a tendency. When the chest comes forward, the groin doesn't open. Good, Carla. All right, these look good. All right, now we'll just rest for a moment. Again, if you need to rest in a more profound way, you can do seated forward bends with the chair seat. So this is, Janet, this is what I want to get everyone to do. So, and this is like the whole second part of the class that hopefully we'll get to on Friday. So coming back to Dvipada and really focusing on how when we take an in-breath and we bring the shins closer to the legs, the abdomen draws back to the front of the spine. So it's against the resistance of the abdomen drawing back that the legs actually come in closer. All right, then, and it will be easy for you to get to 90 degrees in Urdhva Prasarita. Remember, the lower spine is not flat to the floor nor overarched. Now, if that's easy, you can palm a brick and take the arms overhead. So we're aiming to stay about a minute in this pose. All right, so with that said, if it's impossible to stay with the legs not bound by a strap, okay? If you need the strap, take it to stay that minute, and the feet can be apart, okay? We've also done this with a block, and that's a way of propriocepting your abdomen. So knees into the chest. The other way is just, Jen, if anyone is tired, just do legs elevated at the wall. It's still abdominal, but it's not as active. All right, and then the legs to 90, good. If the legs are shaky, put the belt on. If the legs sink close to the floor, then put the belt on. And then see if you can stay. You can put your hand up your lower spine and make sure that it's not drifting. So you can just put your hand at your low back and make sure that the back is not overarched or pressing down. That's good. Make sure the legs are straight. Relax. You need head support for those of you who can. Just relax. Breathing in through the nose. You can breathe out through the mouth. Inhale again against the resistance of the abdomen moving back to the floor. So at some point this gets, naturally quite easy, in which case, over time, we add the arms overhead. All right, now we're just going to take it one step further, and I don't know if we'll get through all of this because it's already 11, but I want to just touch on a few options here. So I said earlier on, when you do something against gravity, it's harder. With gravity is easier. So watch. We'll take the legs to 90, where you just were. And then working with gravity, I'm going to take the legs to about 60, which really should be 45 because it's in between the floor and 90, and then to 30. And then I'm going to take the knees in. Do you see how I'm also putting my hands at those indents, at their frontal hip bones? Because that helps me articulate the abdomen drawing back. So let's just do 2 in that way. The legs are at 90. I'll say 45, 30, and then bend the legs. John, if this is difficult, do the same thing 1 leg at a time. That's why we're only doing 2. So you can go right side, left side. Okay, now on your own, work with the breath. If it's easy, you can take the arms overhead. If it's challenging, 1 leg, don't pause too long. Okay, knees in. With knees in, then take the legs up. Now back to 45 or 60, as the book likes to say. 30, which is a few inches off the ground, and then knees in. All right, now try this. So this is, so the pose in Light on Yoga, if you were to see this pose in Light on Yoga, reads from the floor to 30, 60, 90, but we're breaking it apart a bit. All right, so in order now to go against gravity, which is much harder, then watch what we're gonna do. We're gonna take Dvipada, which is, we're kind of using Dvipada as the platform for this abdominal work, because it teaches us the breath in an easy way, and the legs aren't straight. So I'm flexing through my heels. I go out to 30, then to 45, and then to 90. Bring the knees in. So I activate my heel hinges. I push away to 30, up to 45, and up to 90. All right, Janet, in the same manner, 1 leg at a time is possible. All right, here we go. Push through the heel hinges to 30. So 30 was that lowest, it's a few inches off the floor. Then 60 or 45, and then 90. Good, now knees in, flex through the heels, push to 30, abdomen back, good Gail, up to 45, pause, and then up to 90. Winnie, watch how in that 90 position, you're taking the legs too far forward. So don't let momentum come in at that tail end. Can I see one more time? Janet, you can, right, if you're going, no, you're not doing 1 leg, then do an even amount. Okay, push through the heels. That's it. Now, up to 45, wait there. Pause, increasing the pausing will get harder. Now, without momentum, go to 90. Without momentum, i.e. don't let the buttocks come off the floor. Okay, and then release. Janet, that was good. All right, now just try this one. I know we're not going to get through this whole thing, which is unfortunate, but those of you who are coming back, we'll do some of it on Friday. So watch. Now, again, I'm taking the straight leg lever out of the picture, and I'm simply bending my legs. And then what we did in Garudasana Supine, same thing. It's like a sit up in the trunk and the head. I'm reaching through the core of the elbow. Now, one thing I noticed when I last taught this is many of you let the legs drift to 45. Keep that leg, that's the key thing, at the 30-degree position. All right, now go. At the 30 degrees. Janet, that's a good choice. So abdomen is moving back. Keep those legs low. That's it, Gail. Push through the heel. Work those feet. The feet should be spreading. Good, good, good. Feet should be spreading. Legs stay low. Abdomen draws back. Work with the breath. Work with the breath. Okay, these look good. I'm pleased with these because I remember the last time I taught this, the legs appeared much higher. Okay, so remember that 30-degree point is the key. All right, now let's just try this because I can't resist. Yeah, I have to go, keep going. Okay, lie flat. Lie flat. Okay, find your shoulder blades. This will help you let the shoulder blades come off the floor. All right, now raise your legs back to 30, but lift your shoulder blades off the floor. So this is challenging because you've got to get that long lever, straight leg, a little bit higher on the, come up more, Lubna, come up more. If you're not coming up, that's good, Lana. Reach your arms forward as though you're holding, reaching for your ankles. That will help. Okay, that's it. Andrew, reach, take the arms slightly forward to get more lift in the shoulder blades. Reach. So imagine you were touching, Winnie, the ankles. Okay, and down you come. All right, now just because of time, just simply come back to Supta Baddha Konasana flat in order to relax the abdomen, because at that point we were going up to that crescendo. Okay. You could also do Viparita Karani with the bolster if that's more satisfying and nourishing. I was talking to Rahel the other day on the phone, and we were saying that, you know, she was asking about restorative asanas and how often we should be doing them. And, you know, I don't make this distinction between, really between restorative asana and any other pose. I think any pose can be restorative, but I like to use the word nourishing. So you can take Supta Baddha Konasana, it can be in an active way, seated, or it can be in a very nourishing way as it is now. Again, you can employ your hand and spread the abdomen. So remember, we started with this, we ended, or now ending class with this. This is really important to prepare the abdomen by first relaxing it, preparing the quads and the feet and the hip flexors before you do deep abdominal work. And then, as you can see, that the feet and the thighs and the core abdominal work is critical in balancing. Now, if you want to, you can stay here for the remaining time we have in Shavasana. Otherwise, you can get a chair, which is really helpful, and put your lower legs on the seat of the chair. The feet are hip width apart to relax your abdomen. Or you could do Viparita Karani with the balls to some of you are not in your respective places with all the props. So, Gail, that's good. Head support if you need it. If you want the blanket on the chair. Just as we started the class, the main thing is to find a comfortable position so that you can relax. Again, let the body arrive, and the mind will follow suit. Tune to yourself. Tune to presence. And notice that this process of involution that we do at the very beginning, and of course, in Shavasana, takes time. Let the body become porous so that the breath, the life force, the life flow can run freely and smoothly inside you.